Hello pilots, today we're doing something a little different. With Mecha Breakdown for maintenance, I decided to branch out and try another mecha game that's been floating around on Steam, Death Ring Second Impact. It's in early access right now, but it just got a big update with a lot of new content, so I thought, hey, let's give it a spin. And after a solid evening playing, here are my first impressions. So let's get right in. The first thing that struck me was the retro vibe. It's got that isometric look that immediately made me feel like I was playing something classic. And then it leans into its anime inspirations with those sharp character portraits and cool mech designs. You take over your first mech and see it towering over a building while waves of insectoid monsters crawl across the map. That is when it started clicking for me. My immediate thought was Starship Troopers meets Gundam. And honestly, I was kind of hooked right there. The controls were pretty intuitive. If you've played any tactics game before, you'll probably feel right at home. You pick a unit, you see your movement grid, and you choose which weapon you want to fire. It's all very clean, the tooltips are detailed enough to matter but not overwhelming. And the UI didn't really feel like it was fighting me. I'll admit when the game opened up and menus started flying at me, I did get a little lost, but after a few minutes it all started to make sense and I was off to the races. The gameplay loop is actually pretty clever. There is this infestation timer that tells you when the next wave is coming. Until that timer runs out, you're free to send your units out on missions, get resources, or experiment with upgrades. It becomes this mini game of planning. Do I use these 2 days to gather resources, risk a tough fight, or crank out some upgrades or repair my mechs? And when the timer finally hits 0, you're staring down the next horde. Now, here's where things started to get interesting. Loadouts are a pretty big deal. You can kit your mech with different weapons like a machine gun, a shotgun, or a melee setup. And as a career sword and board knight, of course I went with the sword and shield for my main unit. But then you've got shoulders, back weapon, tactical drones, and there's a lot of room to experiment with different loadouts. On top of that, the module system is this neat little puzzle. You get different shaped modules with buffs like bonus damage, more energy, extra movement, and you have to fit them onto a grid. It's like building a mech and playing Tetris at the same time. For my knight mech build, I went heavy on melee damage, health, and defensive buffs, and honestly, it just felt right. Between infestations, you'll get missions you can assign to your squad. Some are simple, like repairs or crafting modules, but others unlock new units or throw you into special battles. The variety here is what was keeping me engaged. One mission had me protecting supplies from being eaten, which I failed miserably, and another was a straight up nest raid. And then there was a boss fight with a massive mutant acid toad that spawned smaller mutant acid toads. And I swear if I hadn't been running my self-sustaining knight build, I probably would have been toast. Now it's still early access, so take this with a pinch of salt, but most of the story is told through text boxes with limited voice acting. It's not necessarily bad, the writing does drop interesting lore and gives you choices that affect the outcome of missions. Like when I had the option to raid the nest directly or wait for bugs to come into the open. Naturally, I chose the harder raid the nest option because, well, I'm a knight, so going into the monster's den is kind of what we do. While it is text heavy, I see a lot of potential for replayability as you experiment with the different choices and narrative paths. So is it worth playing? Honestly, absolutely. If you are a mecha or tactics fan, there's a ton of meat here already. Between the loadouts, the modules, and the mission variety, it's just got that addictive one more turn feel to it. The battles are short and snappy, but they make you think. The customization lets you tailor your squad to your playstyle, and even though it's still early access, there's plenty of replay value there already baked in. I'll definitely be playing more of it, and if you've been craving that mix of Gundam-style mechs and Starship Troopers bug stomping, then this one is definitely worth keeping an eye out for. That is my first impressions of Death Ring Second Impact. If you've tried it yourself, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed the breakdown, please consider dropping a like and subscribing, it really helps out. And well, it means I get to make more mecha content. Thanks for watching, pilots, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.